visits inside Libya. I was with him for his international visits or receiving head of states coming to Libya. And they mispoint something like that. I feel very sorry that there are some head of the government, they knee in front of him and they kissed his hand. Mm-hmm. How they feel now? Being kneeling in front of him and kissing his hand. How they feel now? I think they are embarrassed of what they have done. Thank you, sir.
What about the question about the possibility that I mentioned initially, the possibility of him being assassinated by somebody close to him?
It could happen, but maybe who will do it, he thinks that he will get out of charges of what he has done in the past. And what is around him now, it's very, very close, and people are very, as I told you, very close to him and defending themselves to be around him to keep him. But the time is coming and the date is coming, and it is very short. Nobody thought, nobody was expecting this revolution of my compatriots. They never expected. They just get out sudden, and they were so quickly. They didn't receive any international aid. Okay. And I feel very sorry that the international aid is coming only now, and it is too late. They let my people down. Children, old people, old women dying in the streets, and God knows where are their bodies now, buried somewhere. Now the international community start to wake up and think about Libyans. Where they were? I must say that it is time that they think it over and they stop this bloodshed in my country.
Let's ask John Hamilton what he thinks are quite a few fascinating points made by Nouri al-Mismari. With regards to the one where he said that you have these foreign leaders who knelt down and kissed the hand of Gaddafi, aren't they embarrassed now? Of course, there was this whole rehabilitation, if you like, interestingly, a sort of drug reference as well, given that he's been speaking about hallucinogenic drugs recently. This whole rehabilitation of Muammar Gaddafi in the international scene, according to the international community, bringing him back into the fold. As we mentioned, Saif al-Islam and his connections with LSE and his PhD there, the fact that there was a grant there. Britain, France, Italy and other nations and their thawing relationship with Libya over the years. How delicate is the situation for them at this moment in time? And has that relationship with Libya heavily influenced their response now to the crisis in the country?
I think yes, to both points. It's extremely embarrassing for all the European, the world leaders who were clearly chasing after Gaddafi, trying to get some sort of advantage with the country over the past few years. It has to be said that there was an underlying justification for this rehabilitation. I mean, when Gaddafi said he wanted to sort of rejoin the fold, I think that it was absolutely right that a big effort was made to try and bring him in. But looking back with hindsight now, I think we have to say that often it went too far, and much too much faith was put into the extent that Gaddafi had actually changed the way he did business. And I think a blind eye was turned to a lot of terrible things which were still going on. We decided we were going to believe Saif al-Islam al-Gaddafi when he said that he was really interested in liberalising and that perhaps any time soon a constitution might be introduced into the Libyan system. I think that all sounded so good that the governments decided they weren't going to be sceptical. They weren't going to try and test this. And so bad things happened. There was a British businessman who was incarcerated for 6 months very recently. It was impossible for the British embassy to get any news about him. That ought to have been a really shocking episode. But I think because there was already so much on the table, so
Right.
many business deals, a relationship which they didn't want to turn their back on. They decided that they wouldn't make such a big fuss about it, perhaps. Okay. And now we're seeing that that was a mistake, and starting with Tony Blair and going all the way through, we should have been tougher.
Yeah, Mahmoud al-Shamam, I mean, much of this was about oil, wasn't it? Now, looking at the situation currently, and as we discuss the inner circle and those close to him, for example, a country like Italy gets a quarter of its oil from Libya. If the Italians were pressured to, or of their own volition, wanted to renegotiate or reassess this business contract with Libya, who do they call? Who do they pick up the phone and talk to at this moment in time?
This is another expression that the international community had, which has no base. In matter of fact, just last night, a local body, temporary local body, was created in Benghazi, containing 14 members, which now we have somebody who is taking care of the energy and oil, somebody is taking care of the health, education, transportation, communication, and they are well qualified, educated people. We can call it as an authority of technocrat who can